Mr. Speaker, sir, I thank the Honourable Attorney General and Minister for Economy for delivering a forward-looking budget to address the impacts of COVID-19. This budget offers relief to Fijian families, boost businesses, protect workers, and fund Ministry of Health to contain this virus, and more importantly, save lives. The core of this budget is to keep Fijians employed and keep businesses afloat while putting people's safety and well-being first. As we heard, the Fijian economy will contract by 4.3%, provided we successfully win our battle against COVID-19. Mr. Speaker, sir, we have seen the manner in which COVID-19 pandemic caused upheaval in the global stock market. It disrupted supply chain, shattered businesses, closed airports, and left thousands unemployed. We have never experienced anything this sudden and severe in our lifetime. On the worldometer that provides coronavirus updates, it is frightening to see how the cases are increasing by the hour, including the number of deaths. Mr. Speaker, sir, the tragedy is unfolding in fast motion. It is therefore critical that we act swiftly to endorse this budget as we come in terms with our new reality. Last night, we saw an attempt by the opposition to delay or even derail swift actions that the government is taking on this very important budget for all Fijians. Comments like the Honourable Minister for Health and his very dedicated staff in the front line have not done anything is highly deplorable and insensitive. People who are risking their lives to save all Fijians should be appreciated, and I applaud them. The other comment that should be denounced is that government brought COVID-19. What can I say? I feel sorry for Honourable Nawaikula. Such irresponsible remarks will be remembered for a long time. Mr. Speaker, sir, the leader of NFP had the audacity to say that the Minister of Economy and Minister for Industry, Trade and Tourism had nothing to offer to the private sector, and that they were asking the private sector to advise. What is wrong with that? Private sector knows best what is required, and it is the responsibility of every government to listen. Now, this doesn't mean that everything they request is the best possible solution at this time, but it does help the government to think and strategize with them. Mr. Speaker, sir, this morning we hear from the Honourable Leader of Opposition that we should consult. What do you think, Honourable Leader of Opposition, we were doing over several weeks? Mr. Speaker, sir, the government is very grateful to the banking sector, hire purchase sector, tourism sector, manufacturers and processors, Fiji Chamber of Commerce, FSEF, and many other organizations such as Digicel and Vodafone for the initiatives that they are putting on the table to address the impact of coronavirus. Mr. Speaker, sir, from our various consultations with industry representatives, we know that businesses are suffering. Working hours are reduced, salaries and wages are being cut, and workers sent home. They need help now, and that's what this government is doing. Mr. Speaker, sir, the backbone of the Fijian economy, the tourism sector, has come to a grinding halt. I want to express my gratitude and thank those employees in the tourism industry who have continued to keep Fijians at work, which is only out of responsibility of care to the workers. I strongly support the allocation of 60 million for workers in the tourism sector. Mr. Speaker, sir, the MSME sector, which contributes 18% to the Fijian GDP and employs approximately 60% of the labor force, is amongst the hardest hit. I welcome the much-needed assistance offered to the MSME sector. These incentives will keep our small businesses afloat and carry us through these testing times. Mr. Speaker, sir, this budget is not only about businesses, but consumers as well. Fijians who have taken mortgages will be able to defer their mortgage repayments in the event they're not able to repay. Mr. Speaker, sir, Honourable Prasad's COVID-infected response was expected this morning. He said there was only 2 good things in the budget: 60 million for tourism workers and funds allocated to Ministry of Health. He also said, who cares about tax deduction? Well, you don't, but businesses do. How can he say this budget is not helping businesses? Let me tell him, Mr. Speaker, sir, there is 120 million tax sacrifices borne by FERCs, which includes deferment of VMS, tax holidays for investments in the tourism sector, waiver of penalties, write-off of assets, tax deductions applied for employment tax schemes, export tax deductions, and many more. Just because we don't have much time, Mr. Speaker, sir, I cannot elaborate more. But, Mr. Speaker, sir, in many countries where this virus has taken over, we have seen measures taken by the respective governments. In Fiji, we have the opposite, where the opposition sits in the comfort of their home or office to give prescription that the government's so-called poor economic performance is stifling its ability to address this issue. They are not ignorant of the fact that the government has managed the economy. They have managed the economy well despite slowdown of global economy that started in late 2018 and early 2019. But it's a deliberate attempt to criticize that everything this government has done or is doing are not success stories. They just refuse to accept the good work this government is doing for its citizens and in particular to people. Mr. Speaker, sir, these are unprecedented times and we need unprecedented approach to handle the uncertainties and realities facing us today, which is time-bound. Mr. Speaker, sir, thank you for this opportunity to speak in support of the budget, a budget that has been prepared to propel us through these challenging times. Thanks, Mr. Speaker, sir.